Hello everyone, this is Dr. Song. Welcome to my YouTube video. Today, we will talk about the assumptions of a multiple regression test. As you know, there are many various assumptions to run this multiple regression test, but some assumptions are not widely used. So, we will talk about that because they are important to be respected to get a more reliable result in the multiple regression. So they are called the independence of observation and detecting outliers by Cook's distance. So independence of observation provides the evidence that each independent variable does not affect each other, and this can be checked by the Durbin Watson statistics. And if the result is close to the 2, that indicates that there is no autocorrelation in the residuals. So the residuals are not correlated each other, so we can satisfy this assumption. So I will show you that assumption first. So you will go to the analyze and regression and the linear. And then I already put the dependent variable depression. And then we have the 3 independent variables: life satisfaction, self-esteem, and the self-perception. Now you will go to the statistics, and then you will check the estimate confidence interval. And then this is one of the assumptions of the multiple regression, so it's checked. And then you can check the Durbin Watson. So that is for the detecting if there is an autocorrelation between the independent variables. So you say the continue, and then okay. So the output generates these results. So that is the regression ANOVA table model summary. But in the model summary, we can find the Durbin Watson test. So this test result shows that 2.08. So this means that is greater than 2. So we can consider that is partially violated this assumption. So there is definitely some autocorrelation between the independent variables. So this is the less or the more than 2, and then you have to be careful. However, the between the 1.5 and then 2.5, that is not a very severe violation. So you can consider that. You can mention in your report this assumption is partially met because the value is 2.08. Okay. So now let's talk about the second assumption that is not widely used. That is about the no outliers. It's required for the multiple regression. And then this can be checked by the Cook's distance test. So if the result of the data point indicates the less than the 1.0, and that means that they are not severely but moderately influential. So that can be mentioned in your study in the report, and then you can proceed with the regression test. So I will show you how you can run the Cook's distance. So you will go to the analyze and then regression and the linear, and then you will go to the statistics, and then that is what we did. And then we checked the Durbin Watson continue, and then you go to the save, and then that is the Cook's distance here with the distance, and then that will generate the another variables in your data set, and then you can check with that. So when you continue, and then okay, and then I think we already generated, but we will see about that. So I will go step by step. So the Cook's distance, this is output, but the Cook's distance is in your data set. So you go to the data view, and then this will be generated again. So we need only one. So when you have the data set that is the original one, and then when you give the command of the Cook's distance, that generates the one column, and then you can check with this. So that is you can check the very briefly if that is more than 1.0. That is a very severe score to say that it's outlier. But in fact, we don't have anything is greater than greater than 1.0. So this data we can say that the outliers that is assumed in the no outliers are assumed in this study. So you can proceed with the multiple regression test. Okay, so that is the second assumption. And now what I want to show you, that is a assumption about the linearity. And then we have to assume that the linearity, that is first the linearity between the dependent variable and each of the independent variables. So in this case, the independent variable was the self-esteem, self-perfection, life satisfaction. So they should be the linear relationship with the dependent variable depression. And the second thing, the linearity between the dependent variables and the independent variables collectively. So you should know that each variable is a linear relationship, but also the collectively these three they are correlated, and then they are the linear relationship collectively with the dependent variable depression. So this can be checked by the SPSS regression test. So let's go for that. So when you do the again analyze and then regression and the linear, and then when you go to the plot, you will put the ZPRED, and then that is in the x axis, and then ZRESID is a y, and then that will generate this assumption for the how they are collectively linear with the dependent variable. And then you can say that also the histogram and the normal probability plot. That is for another assumption. So we will just talk about the assumption about the independent variables collectively. The linear relationship with the dependent variable is that. And then you can check also produce the all partial plots. That will generate the each independent variable with the dependent variable if each one is linear. So we can obtain from this comment about the collectively and individually independent variable is a linear relationship with them. So you can do the continue, and then if you say okay, and then we have already we did the same function of the comment, so that already generated. So you can see here this one scatter plot dependent variable, and then regression standardized predicted value. This one shows the how independent variables are collectively linear with the dependent variable depression. So you do the double click, and then you draw the line, and then you can see that will be the horizontal line, because that is for the regression standardized predicted value is about the linear relationship. So this will be in the horizontal line. So scatter plot of the standardized residual against the predicted value show that the residuals around the zero here, and then they are distributed like a homogeneous way. So this means that the assumption of the linearity between the independent variable and the independent variables collectively, that is assumed. Okay, and then we can see the other one. Now, because of that option of the partial regression plot, that generates the three different individual scatter plot. So this scatter plot shows that the linearity between the dependent variable depression and the one individual variable independent variable. So with the life satisfaction depression, when you double click, and also you can draw the line, and now you can see they are negatively correlated. So we saw that. And then now with the depression and then the self-esteem, another double click, and then you can see that is also the negatively related. And then finally, with the depression and the self-perception, you draw the line, and then that is also the negatively related. So you can find all this graph by using the regression test, and then also about the assumption part. So this is what I wanted to show for today. I hope you got some new knowledge how you can test the assumptions in the multiple regression test. Thank you very much for listening, and then see you next time.